Und damit ein herzliches Willkommen zurück bei The Great Ace Attorney 2 Resolve. In der letzten Aufnahmesession haben wir den Trial von Episode 4 angefangen, in dem Barock van Zieks angeklagt ist, Inspektor Gregson umgebracht zu haben. In der Staatsanwaltschaft steht kein geringerer als Kazuma Asogi, unser bester Freund, den wir vor kurzem noch als tot geglaubt hatten, der aber als Schüler von Lord van Zieks schon in London war und maskiert war und seine Erinnerungen verloren hatte. Amnesia hatte er an sie, aber jetzt wieder sich an alles erinnern kann und scheinbar jetzt einfach als Staatsanwalt arbeitet und den Staatsanwalt in dem Fall von seinem Vater, dem Professor, jetzt quasi angeklagt hat und für schuldig befinden will. Wir verteidigen Barock van Zieks, needless to say natürlich, und wir haben jetzt im letzten Part aufgezeigt, dass in dem Raum, wo Gregson ermordet worden ist, es sein kann, dass die Schüsse, die die Zeugen gehört haben, durch Firecracker, also durch so Feuerwerk, durch so, ja, Böller quasi erzeugt werden konnten und Gregson schon zu einem viel früheren Zeitpunkt hätte sterben können. Und wir haben dann auch noch aufgezeigt, dass Gregson quasi einen Fall untersucht hat, der mit der Red-Headed League, mit der rothaarigen Liga zu tun hat. Und jetzt haben wir zwei Zeugen aus der rothaarigen Liga, nicht Liga, lol. Und ja, die wurden vor einem Tag oder so von Gina Lestrade festgenommen. Wahrscheinlich bei Herlock sogar im Büro, die wir da gesehen haben, die zwei Rothaarigen ganz am Anfang der Episode. Und ich bin gespannt, wie sich die Ereignisse weiterentwickeln werden. Wir spielen weiter. Twisted Karma in his last bow. Okay. 2nd November, 12:33 p.m. The Old Bailey, Defendant's Antechamber. Oh, there you are, Otto. What kept you, my dear fellow? Hello, Mr. Sholmes. Gina? You sure about what you said in there? That's the boss, you know, actually died the day before. It's pretty hard to swallow. Yes, I was shocked by the revelation too, Gina. As was I. Possibly more shocked than both of you. It's not a competition, Mr. Sholmes. But I was more shocked than all of you put together. This is the autopsy report in question, is it? Yes, it's strange that there's no time of death noted. I suppose there's a simple explanation. Or perhaps it was a deliberate omission. Oh dear, if it was deliberate, it puts me in mind of the last case we worked on. And Dr. Seiss. I know. Anyway, it seems that on the day before Lord van Zieks discovered his body... Ja, true. Dr. Seiss hat ja auch quasi Sachen verfälscht. Das stimmt. Inspector Gregson was investigating the Red-Headed League, so perhaps something happened with them. Come to think of it. You had trouble with those League men too, didn't you, Mr. Sholmes? You were taken in by the trick. No. Naturally, I wasn't taken in as you put it. My sleuth-hound interest was merely piqued slightly by the rare scent of a weekly £4 income. And that scent masks the underlying scent of deception, I suppose. The two criminals in question are the pair we saw being arrested yesterday, aren't they? In Mr. Sholmes' suite, I mean. That's right, Zeus! And it was me what took him in. Thanks to a tip-off by a good, law-abiding citizen. Indeed, yours truly. So it's going to be that pair in the witness stand next, is it? Something doesn't quite make sense to me though. The day before Inspector Gregson was found, you hadn't had trouble with the Red-Headed League yet, had you? Why would the Inspector have been investigating them? Well, the likely explanation would be that Gregson's own sleuth-hound interest was piqued by the rare scent of a weekly £4 income. Don't time with the same brush as you, Miss Sholmes. Yes, well, ich glaube auch nicht, dass der das aus Geldsorgen gemacht hat. Then there's the whole issue of Inspector Gregson being investigated by Lord Van Zieks for some reason. The Reaper, the red-headed leak, Inspector Gregson, Lord Van Zieks, and Kazuma. I feel as though he knew we'd arrive at this point somehow. Gosh, I think you're right. What's he really trying to achieve here today? All the answers will soon be revealed. Observe the time, my dear fellow. This recess will be over very shortly. Yes, you're right. Kazuma was determined that he should be the one to prosecute this trial. And he was determined that I should take the defense. Just what is it that he's hoping to make me see, I wonder. I get the feeling we're a long way from the end of this trial yet. Und wir sind erst in Episode 4. Are you ready then, Mr. Sato? Yes! Es ist... Die Vermutung geht immer mehr in mir hoch, dass es ein Zweiteiler ist, Episode 4 mit Episode 5. 2nd November, 1 PM, the Old Bailey Courtroom. In the name of Her Majesty the Queen, I hereby declare this court to be in session again. We resume the closed court hearing of Baroque Van Zieks, here present, who stands accused of murder. Now then, Prosecutor Asogi. My lord, have you summoned the witnesses as requested? Yes, the 2 members of the red-headed league who planned and carried out the deception. They arrived not long ago from the local prison by police carriage. Very good. Bailiff, usher the 2 men into the courtroom. Hä, das ist ein Typ? Der sieht aber sehr feminin aus dann, der Kleine. These 2 men are currently being held by the police on suspicion of attempted extortion. Was ist Extortion? Extortion. Erpressung, okay. You may omit your occupations, but state your names now for the court. I am Fabien de Rousseau, a descendant of the great de Rousseau family from Nice, en France. And my name is Peppino de Rossi. Italiener? I am the 3rd son of the great Familia de Rossi, the landowners from Napoli. Ja, Italiener. The 2 men first became acquainted at a boarding school for European nobility. Nobility. Adel. Okay, ja, macht Sinn, weil das ja beides Adelspersonen sind. Those who graduate from Temsig are the future leaders of Europe. But, do you have any idea how boring it is to be born with the noble blood? Alors, I make it my mission to get the better of the world by employing the little grey cells of my brain. That is all I am trying to do. So, that's the only reason for this whole grand deception you've been carrying out? Okay. Noble blood. Making my mission to get the better of the world by employing a little grey... Okay. Oui, you could say that. Not bad, eh? He has the grand ideas, but the petty plans. This strange combination is the charm of the hilarious brothers. See, Capo? Listen to me, Peppino. I have 2 things to say to you. Che! Are you about to tell me one of your grandy anecdotes Eviva! Firstly, I want you to stop calling me this Capo. And secondly, well, Chapo? Ich weiß es nicht. We are not the Hilarious brothers. This is serious business. Chabello! There it is. The Chapo's trumpet card. The Pharaoh bro. It is steep, Chapo, the Pharaoh and the meaning of your words. The court has been led to believe that under the banner of the Red-Headed League, you have conspired to swindle money from unsuspecting members of the public. Is this true? Oui, c'est ça. And what exactly was the nature of this deception by which you planned to defraud? Alors, I will explain it. No, Chapo, leave it to me. As you see, we both have the vivid red hair, no? At school, we were teased for this without pity. The Chapo here, he was many times behind the schoolhouse, crying like the Trevi fountain. Wah! Those talks! One day the world will respect us redheads. Every night he would bury his head in his pillow and... C'est bien, Peppino. Enough. I will explain the rest. The first step was the newspaper advertisement. About 1 week before the plan was put into operation, we listed the same notice in every paper in London. Yes, we saw that notice. It was this one, I believe, entitled To the Red-Headed League. Mal kurz gucken. 25 ist der. Okay, lol. The third son of a great Italian landowner, the fourth are behind the Red-Headed League swindle, who was called by Mr. Sholmes. He derives from the French aristocracy, it seems. The Red-Headed League. Oui, c'est ça. I am honored that you have seen it. It states that the only condition for joining the league is having flame-colored hair, and that if you satisfy the interview panel and are admitted into the league, you could receive a weekly income of £4. On the date specified, red-headed hopefuls gathered in droves at the park specified in the advertisement, and from each person present, this pair took an application fee of 5 shillings. And with the money, to France. It was a plan most elegant, no? No, it was most dishonorable. But to be frank, I'm stunned anybody was foolish enough to be taken in by such an obvious trick. The park was described by one witness as choked with red-headed folks like a coaster's orange sparrow. And the day on which all these men gathered to apply was the day before the victim was discovered. Crucially, these two men spoke face to face with every single person present that day. Oui, I have seen more red-headed people in one day than I will see in the rest of my life. See! And now, every time I see the Chapo's hair, I feel sick to my stomach. Anyway, why have we been summoned here today? Sorry? The date for our trial was not until tomorrow, I was told. Naturally, neither of these men have been told any details about this trial. Also haben die quasi gescammt. Haben die beiden einfach die Rothaarigen oder die es werden wollten, gescammt, haben einfach eine Bearbeitungsgebühr genommen und dann abgehauen quasi damit, beziehungsweise das Geld nach Frankreich. Neither of these men have been told any details about this trial. They've only been shown this photograph. Very good. So, Mr. de Rousseau and Mr. de Rossi, you will now give your formal testimony for the court on the subject of the gentleman pictured in this photograph. Of course, we are always ready to help with the law. Witness testimony. The man in the photograph. We had more than 1,000 red-headed people assembled in the park on Lime Street that day. But I don't recall the man in this photograph. Ai Chapo? No, I don't remember him. Obviously he is dead now, but I assure you, he was not in the park. Allora, this victim has nothing to do with us. You have a lot to answer for, Peppino. It is your fault that we got caught in the first place. You've given sworn testimony that this man in the photograph was not present. Can you be certain? Oui, I am quite certain. We did not interview this man. Nobody looking like this came to the park. This I can promise. It must be noted that you have been arrested for a grand deception, however. Accordingly, this court has little confidence in your assurances. Uffa, with this attitude, we get to nowhere, huh? He's really a sulker now. He's really a... okay. This confidential document was obtained directly from Scotland Yard. It records an entry from the inspector's private diary dated the day before the incident. Warte, was? Okay. It reads, Lime Street, red-headed leak, undercover. Ah, I have the answer! Maybe there was another similar event in the park on the day in question, That is ridiculous. There's no question that Inspector Gregson was investigating the red-headed leak. Which means it's quite possible that's when he was killed. Very well, the defense may proceed with the cross-examination now. Ah, yes, my lord. Cross-examination. The man in the photograph. We had more than 1,000 red-headed people assembled in the park on Lime Street that day.
Hold it!
1,000 people? That's a very big crowd. It was quite a spectacle. Red-heads had come from all over the capital. See! The chopper here, he has a magnetismo animale, Nobody else could attract so many people. If I could be born again, I would be the Chapo. All those people wanted was the money, Peppino. The £4 per week. Are you suggesting that you spoke personally with all 1,000 applicants? Oui, that we did, because every one of them paid us 5 shillings. We take their names and we take their money, and we take their addresses as well. Then I tell them we take some days to let them know by a post, if finito. Maybe 2 minuti a person. We start early in the morning and we stop late in the night. So, you earned 5,000 shillings in one day. That's a small fortune. Who'd have thought there were 1,000 such gullible redheads in London to start with? One of whom was a great detective with chemically altered hair. But I don't recall the man in this photograph. Chapo?
Hold it!
He doesn't look at all familiar. No, I don't think so. And this is a wig, He was trying to trick us. I do not like the people who are trying to trick the other people. Says the con artist. If between them they interviewed 1,000 people with red hair, it would be unreasonable to expect them to remember every face. No, senor. I may be small, but my memory is very large. I never forget a thing. In my opinion, I do not think this man was in the park. But he's not going to give the court a definite, it seems. Chapo, you didn't see a man like this, No, I don't remember him, and obviously he is dead now, but I assure you, he was not in the park.
Hold it!
But according to what you said, you spoke with 1,000 or more people that day. Oui, that's true. My eyes were burning by the end of the day. Surely then, you can't actually remember every single face. How are you so certain that this particular man wasn't present? Normally the red hair is very distinctive, but not when you have 1,000 redheads crowding around. Then it's just an eyesore. But if there was some other information you could have given us, maybe then we would recall. That is not the line, Peppino. Okay. Not when you have 1,000 redheads crowding around. But if information could give, maybe it could be called. Not the line, Peppino. Remember, we do not remember him. We are sure of that fact, There was a man with the red hairpiece, but his mustache did not match the color. Then I do not think I could have forgotten him. Kazuma said these two had only been shown that photograph and they'd been told nothing else at all. But what if I fed them just one other detail about the victim? For example, his fish and chips, his profession, his name. His fish and chips, maybe? Ach ja. Ich will jetzt immer, wenn ich Fish and Chips esse, was nicht so häufig vorkommt, will ich an Tobias Gregson denken. Was aber nicht so häufig vorkommen wird, weil ich selten bis gar nicht eigentlich Fish and Chips esse. I can certainly appreciate that knowing the man had red hair wouldn't have you remember in the situation. But what if I told you that the man was always munching on a packet of fish and chips? Do you remember a man who was eating incessantly? Not really. I was looking only at the ads of the applicants. I wouldn't have noticed the fish and chips any more than the caviar and smoked salmon. Oh, a spaghetti! Me, I love the spaghetti. Really, I had no idea. Tell them again what you said before, Peppino. See, Chapo, see! I say it again and again. Okay. Ich möchte nochmal die anderen Optionen ausprobieren. Also, ups. So, zurück. Zack, 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 zack. Skip, 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 skip. Skip, 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 skip. Skip, 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 irgendwie so. His name. I can certainly appreciate that just knowing the man had red hair wouldn't help you remember in this situation. But what if I told you that the man's name was Gregson? The man in the photograph is a Monsieur Gregson. Yes. Names, they are boring. I did not listen to any of them. Oh. It was not the real interview, It was just for a show. Why would I remember the names? That's right. That's right. This changes nothing. The man in the photograph was not there, as we have already said. I see. It seems there's little to be gained from pursuing this point further. Tell them again what you said before, Peppino. Okay, und dann möchte ich nochmal seine Profession. Skip, 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 skip. Ich skip den Text. Ich skip den Text. Ich skip den Text. Ich skippe den Text. Ich skip den Text. Ich skip den Text. Ja. Ich skip den Text. Ja, ja. Du. Text. Ich skippe den Text. Ja, 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 ja. Skip. Und jetzt die Antwort. Seine Profession. Ja. I can certainly appreciate that just knowing the man had red hair wouldn't help you remember in the situation. But what if I told you that the man in the red hairpiece was actually a detective? The man in the photograph. A detective. Yes. It would appear he found your notice in the paper suspicious and decided to investigate incognito. Sorry, but this changes nothing. Oh, excuse me? Something to add, Mr. De Rossi? Che? See, I am always adding something. Parmesan, olive oil, pepper. What I mean is, did you not agree with your friend's last remark by any chance? Eh? What did he just say? About the detective? Yes, that. Keep your mouth shut, Peppino. You have said enough already. But why, Chapo? What is the problem? There was a man who said, I am Inspector from Scotland Yard. What? Good Lord. Okay, das ist gut zu wissen. Order, order, order! Explain this word fast in your testimony, witness. It's simple. A man who was at the park, no such man, was at the park said to us that he was an inspector. There was no such man. Madai, what are you saying, Chapo? Have you forgotten, I have forgotten nothing. Nobody like this came to the park. Basta, Chapo, basta. You beat me at the many things, but not two. The marrow and the meals. Like I said, when it's time to eat the pasta, no one is a faster. But you are inferior to me in every other way, so shut up.
Objection!
Oh! Trop tard. The damage is done. Indeed it is, sir. Oui, there was a man who came to the park and you said he was an inspector from Scotland Yard. However, he looked nothing like the man in the photograph. He was someone else. How can you be so sure? Because, to start with, his face was completely different. See, it's true, it's true. The man who came was a younger. His face was clean shaven. His eyes were sadder. His chin was thinner. No resemblance whatsoever then. Anyway, I was not going to be fooled. I took the obvious precaution and said to him, if you are really a detective, show us the proof. See, the Chapo here, he doesn't take a no nonsense, But he was well prepared. He said he had identification. Identification? You mean official police inspector's identification? That is most unconvincing. Sorry, my lord? Counsel, no incognito inspector would offer his identification for inspection. It's quite out of the question. Definitely. Why would he expose his true identity? Clearly, the papers were fake. Certo, Chapo, you are a genius. As we say in Italia, it takes a thief to recognize another, And what happened after he announced that he was a detective? He became very annoying. He said, you are under investigation. So I took his papers from him and chased him out of the park. It was fantastico. And look, yes, the identification. So you stole it from the man. He added the coming. He made us very scared. Ich frage mich gerade, dieser italienische Akzent, ne? Hat ja Mario auch, ne? It's a mia, Mario. So, Mamma mia. Hängen die Italiener wirklich, wenn sie Englisch sprechen, teilweise ein A hinten dran? Oder ist das einfach nur ein Klischee? Ich weiß es nicht. He added the coming. He made us very scared. But he wasn't not who he said he was. Indeed, the person described does not appear to have behaved as a true inspector would. However, I believe it would be prudent for these identification papers to be entered into evidence. But I like them. The inspector's identification has been entered into the court record. The identification of a man claiming to be a detective inspector confiscated by Mr. De Rousseau and Mr. De Rossi. Now, let us return to the witness testimony. Ist der Name drin, den ich erwarte, dass er da drin ist? Metropolitan Police Card. Was ist da drin? Well, I suppose we should see what this inspector's identification looks like inside. Yes, it definitely looks fake, doesn't it? Out of interest, what name is given? Probably just something plucked out of the air. It's Tobias Gregson. Wait, what? The Scotland Yard insignia. Looks genuine to me. But how? And the department and identification number details are all correct as well. Since when have you known those? do you mean to say... I know it seems incredible, but yes. I think this is a genuine identification book issued by Scotland Yard. But that's unbelievable. This is the real thing after all. The details of the inspector's identification have been updated in the court record. Inspector Gregson's police identification is the official warrant card issued to him by Scotland Yard. Okay. Also sind das seine realen Papiere?